years ago, I was a jerk. I admit it. I'm not proud of it. But I think people would have generally described me as unpleasant, as argumentative. This isn't where I wanted to eat. Forget it, I'm not hungry. And stubborn. I was so stubborn that for over a year, I endured painful abdominal cramps, fever and chills, and blood where there really shouldn't have been blood, all while refusing to see a doctor. This ridiculous bravado is made even dumber by the fact that my mother and my paternal grandmother had both fought and beat colon cancer. I remember Googling my symptoms, latching onto the most innocuous results. It's probably hemorrhoids. I was content to power through my day, pretend I was okay, and hope that it would just go away on its own. And finally, I caved and I saw a doctor for a colonoscopy. I hate giving people bad news, but a golf ball-sized tumor in the lower third of your lower intestine has almost completely blocked your colon. These things happen to other people in movies, not to me. I stared at my yellow hospital booties and thought, is this what kills me? That gave way to even stranger thoughts like, I need to mow the lawn, and I should give my car to my nephew. The next morning, I woke up at about 5, and I said to no one, I have cancer. I didn't realize that my wife was awake next to me, and she whispered back, I know. Within 48 hours, I'd met an oncologist, picked a surgeon, and scheduled a colorectal resect, which would remove 13 inches of my colon plus all of the surrounding lymph nodes. I was terrified. Sick Greg was a much heavier Greg. In order to avoid the traditional full open surgery, complete with 2-foot scar and possible colostomy bag, I underwent a dietary overhaul and started taking daily walks. I'd watched my mother go through full open surgery. I saw the pain and the difficulty that it brought her for months on end. I didn't know if I could be that strong. I lost roughly 50 pounds in 6 weeks to be eligible for laparoscopic surgery. That brought me from a tight 38 waist to a loose 34. The broccoli and lack of Pepsi seemed like torture, but only having to recover from a 3-inch incision plus avoiding a colostomy bag, a genuine source of anxiety and nightmares for me, made it worth the sacrifice. After the surgery, I woke to my wife reassuring me that the surgery had been laparoscopic and I would not need the bag. The mass was removed in one fell swoop, and luckily it hadn't spread, but my abdomen was swollen and sore, and from nipples to hips, I was black and blue, but I was happy. I spent several days in recovery, shuffling the halls on a walker, pulling my IV and my trusty morphine drip along with me. The days weren't too bad. My family visited me frequently, and my room had killer Wi-Fi. And my little sister, the hospital's lead dietitian, was my pudding cup hookup. The nights were harder, though, just me and my thoughts. Why was I so lucky? People in beds just down the hall had it much harder, and some of them weren't going to go home. So I began making lists, things that I wanted to do or needed to do. I want to be in more shows, and I want to go to more concerts. I need to be more involved in my own life, and I need a Jeep. People that I should apologize to, people that I should never talk to again. The next 4 decades would be different from the last 4, but first, I just needed to get out and I needed to go home. On the morning of day 5, discharge day, my surgeon visited me. Today's the day. Excited? Oh, definitely. I just want to go home and just put this whole thing behind me. "We'll discharge you tonight," he said, "as long as by 5 o'clock you can..." Now, we're all adults here. We know what the large intestine does. This man had cut me open, reached in, taken out a foot-long section of my dear sweet sigmoid and sewed the loose ends back together. He needed to know that everything was working, and the best way for him to know that, number 2, a deuce. All that stood between me and going home, poop. "Sure," I told him. "I can do that, no problem." Once he left the room and I was alone with my thoughts, I realized I hadn't put my colon to work since the night before my surgery when I'd chugged down all that really delicious colon prep. I was optimistic, though. I figured I'd just hop in the bathroom, fire went off, and be on my merry way. No such luck. I tried thinking happy thoughts. Nothing. Now, I'm not good at a lot of things, but this I'm actually pretty good at. Yet, try as I might, I was decidedly unproductive. I have all day, I thought. No big deal, But soon it was noon, then 2, then 3. 5 was closing in fast on me and my colon. So I turned to Facebook. Poop warriors, I need you. My colon won't kick back on. I need to rock a deuce soon. Please, I know it's gross, but send me good vibes. I have 2 hours, please. And Facebook responded. Everybody had a surefire technique, and I tried them all. I had my sister send up cup after cup of coffee from the hospital kitchen. My wife and I squeezed wedge after wedge of lemon into paper cups of warm water to no avail. Spicy foods. No, it's labor. I tried everything short of a plunger. And my only result is a distended belly full of home remedies. I'd say it was like pulling teeth, but really, it was more like desperately coaxing teeth to release themselves of their own accord. 5 o'clock came. My bags were packed, but so were my intestines. My surgeon went home. Me, no such luck. Angry, tired, and disappointed, I crawled into bed and I cried. Just take Mom and Dad and go home, I told my wife. I was so sad, I swear. I heard the long, somber notes of a lonely trombone playing the blues. With no fight left in me, I finally relaxed. Then that trombone again. Wait, that wasn't a trombone. That came from me. It was what could only be called a load-bearing fart. I pushed my wife out of the way. Move! Waddling with purpose. Panic sweat, cold porcelain, and yes, sweet relief. My wife shouted, "He did it!" And from the nurse's station down the hall, there were cheers. Greg pooped. The last time I'd walked out of a bathroom after a toozy, and into my parents' proud arms, I'd been a toddler. And like that, it was over. I'm 40 years old now, and it hasn't come back. I had a little bit of cancer. I don't like being called a survivor, and I don't like it when what I went through is called a struggle. I'm not brave, I'm just lucky. A small clump of cells tried to kill me, and I got lucky, and I won. But I got so much more. I switched from existing to living. Hell yeah, I'll try a new restaurant. I'm happier now. Friends tell me they like this new Greg, and I'm healthier. I ride a bike way more than this gut would indicate. I've found my sunshine. I do go to more concerts now, and I've been in a few shows, some as recently as tonight. Still no Jeep yet. I won't lie to you and say that it was easy, but it was worth it. So, if you're sick, or if you think you might be sick, or if you're 40, go see a doctor. A colonoscopy's not that bad. Early detection is key. And baby wipes. When you do your colon prep, baby wipes are key.